It is Wednesday the 3rd of June, just after 7 in the morning, and the hustle and bustle outside is very clear. I have a fairly big road outside my house and the cars are driving up and down. You might hear some of them in the microphone. I'll be moving to a different area very soon to set up an area where I could continue with my YouTube channel and hopefully give you a more professional presentation. In the news this morning, there's a story that was very close to my heart, and I think it grabbed the attention of many people across the country. Now, I only read about this in the news and saw interviews held with the family members because I don't own a TV at the moment and I have not had a television for the past 12 years because I believe that watching any news and advertisements and so on was a complete waste of my time. And I will do a separate video on that in future. And if you want to watch that video, please subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon so that you can get notifications of new videos uploaded. In this video, in this specific story, there was a couple that were just walking with a toddler along the beach at Muizenberg, and the toddler actually strolled off the pathway and down to the beach. The father ran after to grab the toddler and was arrested by the police. In fact, the couple was arrested by the police. This toddler was still being breastfed and they were put in the back of a police vehicle and taken to the local police station. And this couple has now decided to take legal action against our government for their wrongful action. And based on this court case yesterday, the High Court judgment that level 3 and 4 lockdown regulations were illegal, unconstitutional and invalid, it makes the path clear for all citizens of this country that have been affected by these regulations to take the government to court. And you should absolutely do that. Exercise that right. Otherwise, we're not going to change this current governance system that we're in. The people need to know, and the government needs to know, that the system within which they operate doesn't work for us anymore. The headline reads, and this is in Cape Town, etc., Muizenberg couple arrested during lockdown pursues legal action. And then there's a photo of the mother that was famously still breastfeeding her baby, the toddler that ran off to the beach, inside the police office. It reads, a couple that was arrested on May 4th for contravening lockdown regulations when their toddler ran onto the beach is now pursuing legal action against SAPS on the basis of irrational behavior and abuse with regards to the way the arrest was handled. Muizenberg residents Liam Bulgen and fiancée Teresa Servinkova were strolling along the Muizenberg boardwalk on Monday morning, May 4th, in the middle of the promenade before the incident occurred. My fiancé wanted some space, so I thought I would just stop with my child, who is 21 months old, and take her out of the carrier, Bulgen told EWN. As I put her down out of the carrier, she literally just hopped over onto the beach and she managed to get about 1.5 meters onto the sand. I ran after her and grabbed her. She made a scene. My partner came back because she heard her crying. We were literally in the process of dragging my child off the sand when we got arrested. Now, in the judgment yesterday in the High Court, the judge actually referred to this in his judgment. So he's been obviously watching the news and probably silently building up some real problems in his mind with regards to these lockdown regulations, because any rational person can see how irrational it is. And in his judgment, which I will continue with, I've already done part 1 and there will probably be a part 2, 3, 4 and maybe even 5. He said that how silly is it, how ridiculous is it for people to walk in their droves on the sidewalk, but the moment they set foot onto the sand, now they are causing a problem in spreading this virus. He said it's completely irrational, and I will cover that later in detail. So please subscribe to my channel so you get a notification when that video comes across you. At this point in time, only 20% of my viewers are subscribers. So there's many of you that can still subscribe. The more subscribers I have, the sooner I can start doing live streams and interviews with people that you will find extremely interesting. And the specific topics that we'll discuss will show you how your life is affected by our government currently and the type of problems we have with our constitution, as this High Court judgment made apparently clear. So this baby made a scene, and because of this, they were arrested. Due to lockdown level 4 regulations stating that no one is allowed on the beach, police arrested the couple immediately. No questions asked, no looking at the circumstances, nothing like that. Now I know for a fact, based on interviews or teleconferences held between SAPS and the World Health Organization, that the police openly said that they are not prepared for policing something like this. So what they are asked to do, none of their members are trained for. And they should not be used for actions like this. As I've discussed yesterday in my brief summary of the High Court judgment, once again, that the powers that government believe they have has not only been misunderstood, but misconstrued and misapplied in these regulations that they've put on us. So here it says the charges against a couple has since been withdrawn. So I mean, the whole traumatic experience was pointless, and this has happened to many people I know personally that have told me how they've been arrested, taken to the police station, and then released the moment they appear before a court, because there's no law under which they can be judged. You're not supposed to be arrested for anything but a level 1 offense. None of these, breaking any of these regulations is not a level 1 offense. So there's no ways that the police legally have any right to arrest you for any of this, or take any of the actions that they have been up until now. So they withdrew the charges against the couple, but they feel that something needs to be done with regards to how SAPS handled the arrest and the incident as a whole, and I 100% agree with them. They should absolutely maximize the damage to government, so that government can understand that they cannot act the way they want to, that they cannot act without the rights that they have been given, the powers they have been given. And they have clearly done this based on the judgment from yesterday. According to a document that was sent to various senior members of SAPS last week, police authorities have been given until Friday, June 5th, to provide an undertaking. Among other things, the document details the irrational behavior of SAPS officers and the abusive behavior during the arrest of the couple. Despite there being no urgency, arresting officers allegedly refused to allow Teresa to continue breastfeeding in a safe environment and insisted that she be arrested and breastfeed her daughter in the police vehicle. The couple was also separated during the arrest. People, these things are so serious. You know, if this happened in other countries, in Europe, there would have been riots on the street, the government would have been overthrown, and a new government would have to be elected. So why have we become what we've become? I will give you answers to that in many of my following videos. And if you follow them, go and look at my past videos as well, where I explain why the schooling system and many other things have placated us to the point we have been deliberately dumbed down to the point where we just comply blindly, just trust blindly. And my mission is to highlight the problems in that kind of thinking and why you have a responsibility as a citizen of South Africa to hold our government to account. And that is why we need to change the governance system. Carrying on with the article, a number of requests to have their child picked up by a family member were allegedly denied, with the officer in charge reportedly saying that anyone who tried to pick up their daughter would be arrested. Now, this officer is obviously drunk on power. He is psychotic, in fact, because when he took an oath as a police officer, he took that oath to protect the rights of citizens, the very right he is violating by acting this way. And it's infuriating to me that they claim the right to do these things. It is psychotic. There's nothing normal about it, and we need to call it what it is. If you go and speak to most psychologists, they will tell you when someone is power hungry and they will force things on other people, that there's a level of psychosis that causes this. And some of the culture within SAPS has caused certain police officers to act in this way. There's no ways that this man should be a police officer. He should be fired immediately. When family did arrive to fetch a child, they were allegedly turned away and threatened with arrest. Despite the conduct being in the best interest of the child and not breaching regulations, the family was denied the option of allowing their child to be moved to a safe environment. Now I'm going to put this article, the link to the article, below the description of the video. I don't want to carry on through the rest of the article, but I want you to go and read the rest of the article so that you can actually see how ridiculous this is. The South African Police Service, they are investigating this. Okay? They know that this couple was intimidated, that they were harassed. And they've acknowledged this. And they've said that the police officers acted in bad faith. So this is not a good view of South Africa. This incident went international, was displayed on international media. As the public of South Africa, being looked at from outside, the rest of the world must be looking at us and thinking, what on earth is wrong with those people? Why are they doing nothing? Under your constitutional rights, you have the right to assemble and protest, as one example. Not that protests are necessarily very effective, but if you do that in many places across the country, we could achieve something. In the judgment in the High Court yesterday, the judge mentioned and said that the right to assemble should not be taken away under the Constitution. When you are allowed to have 50 people at a funeral, how can the government take away your right to assembly? So people, you have a right to assemble. When this 2 weeks is over, let's assemble across the country and take the government to court for every bit of damage that was caused to you. Let's assemble across South Africa in 2 weeks' time when this court delay for declaring these level 3 and 4 lockdown regulations invalid, when that is in effect. Let's assemble en masse and demand that this entire government steps down and that we bring a new system into place where we elect our own president, where we elect our own premier, where we elect our own mayors, and where we elect our own councillors, so that we can have a more pure form and a more pure way of living out in a democracy. I don't believe to be fully democratic is ever attainable, but we need to strive towards it, and our constitution needs to be written in a way and changed in some ways to make sure that that happens, that we are free, that we do have the liberties that we need. The way the current constitution was written has allowed what is happening now to happen to us. Even when it's illegal, there were flaws in our laws, and somehow the constitution did not help us as the public. And one of the reasons is because we don't know the constitution, we don't understand the constitution. And that is why I want to spend time with you, and I want you to spend time with me as I explain these concepts to you in detail. Please watch out for the next part 2 of the detailed High Court judgment that declared level 3 and 4 lockdown unconstitutional, completely irrelevant, null and void, illegal. And I will explain in those videos to you exactly why Judge Dennis found that.